Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of the Baits to Throw series. Mickey decided to take my spot and help give away some of my secrets. So in this video we're going to focus on the post-spawn, shad spawn, early summer baits that I like to throw that I've had a lot of success with. This is a non-bias, give credit to where it's due. Like I say, I mean, this is before sponsors. This is what works, what has worked, and what will continue to work. So if you're brand new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps this channel out a ton. So if you have a YouTube account, a Gmail, definitely subscribe to it. Let's get into this video. Alright, so the first baits we're going to talk about is spinner baits. Now this is old school. I don't know if you can find these anymore. This is Strike King quad shads. I still think they make them. I throw a white or a white and chartreuse if the water's muddy. I believe Booyah has a similar bait to this, but the quad shad just works so well in the shad spawn in early morning hours. Definitely try some of them. What else works really well for me are suspending jerk baits. These are my two favorites right here. One's a Jackal, one's a Strike King. Just in some kind of shad color. I really don't think it matters. Ghostman is on top, the green gizzard shad's on the bottom. Like I said, I don't think it matters. As long as it resembles a shad, you should be throwing it. Moving on. This has been a perfect bait for me for the last several years during the months of May and June on Rayburn. This is a Lucky Craft Sammy in a Ghostman color. I have caught an absolute pile of fish on it, as well as an old head and spook. This used to be a shad color, but the fish have just destroyed it. They've knocked the paint off of it. I don't know how many fish this bait has caught, but it has absolutely worn them out. So something like this does really well. Alright, this is like a big secret of mine that I really don't tell many people, but a clear tiny torpedo or just a shad colored one. This is like the most do-nothing topwater bait you can get. I just throw it, twitch it, twitch it, twitch it, but that little prop spins on the back. It drives the bass nuts. You can find these at any tackle store, Walmart, Academy. Old school. This is a Rebel Pop-R, but also Yellow Magic. Anything like a Pop-R style bait. Really good to throw during the shad spawn. And I'm going to give you one of my secrets. This is what I used to throw in saltwater when I was a teenager. It's just a Mr. Twister, little shad. And what I'll do is on this little shad, I'll put like an 1/8 ounce or a 1/16 ounce jig head, cast it, and just twitch it back to me. Kind of work it like a jerk bait, except really fast, or pretend you're fishing for speckled trout. If you don't know how to fish for speckled trout, probably YouTube it, or I'll make a video later on teaching you. But this little fishy catches them. I didn't really want to give that up, but I want you guys to be successful when you go to Rayburn. So last thing I like to throw during the shad spawn of the early morning hours, a 3-blade Strike King 1/4 ounce buzz bait with just some kind of little fish trailer on the back. You can hear this kind of squeaking. You want a buzz bait that squeaks. I'll teach you how to make one squeak in another video. That'll come up a little later in the year. And last thing for the shad spawn, I like to throw a small Fluke style bait. I think this color's called baitfish, or no, this is smoking shad, but anything baitfish color, white, smoking shad. Use a 3/0 wide gap hook on these. These work really well for the shad spawn. Alright, moving on to some of my favorite post-spawn baits. Like I talked about in the last video, rig up a Wacky worm watermelon red. You can tip the tail of these chartreuse now just because we're getting into the early part of the summer, but those bass that just got done spawning, they eat this up. You catch a lot of smaller ones on it, say your 1 to 3 pound fish, but if you need some keepers real quick, this is definitely something to throw. Another thing for post spawn that I really love is a Carolina rig watermelon red lizard. Actually, the Sealy Big Bass Splash Tournament was won on a watermelon red Carolina rig lizard. And let me show you my Carolina rig, at least the length of it. So here it is right here. Here's my hook. This is about a 5.5 foot leader. The longer the leader, the better. People say you can't feel them, but if you have a good rod, you can definitely feel the bites and you don't miss them. The only other thing I throw on a Carolina rig at this time of the year is some type of Zoom Fluke, either watermelon seed, watermelon candy, watermelon red, and I tip the tail chartreuse simply because they're eating brim. I missed these a minute ago. So back to the early morning hours, some type of topwater frog, watermelon seed, watermelon red, or a white will work really good. Rig these on a 4/0 wide gap hook, and definitely throw it on some type of 30-40 pound braid. I don't get too heavy on braid, but 40 pounds is plenty for anything you're gonna hook on a Rayburn. So next thing, we got a lot of high water right now, but anytime post spawn, you need to be flipping some type of creature bait in or around the bushes. For years, I have caught the fire out of them on a Zoom, watermelon red, brush hog, tip in the tail chartreuse. I probably have been fishing with these for the last 25 years. Another bait company that actually sponsors me that I really love their soft plastics is Excite. No salt in the baits, and these have a lot better scent to them. But the bass love both of these baits. You can catch a lot of them. Rig them Texas rig. And speaking of Texas rig, another thing I like to flip with is just some type of beaver style baits. Again, watermelon red, something that looks like a brim. You want to rig these either with a 1/4 ounce to a 3/4 ounce, depending on what you're fishing. A lot of times I like to center punch a bush or a cypress tree or a willow tree. I'll take this bait and try to hit the base of the tree, let it hit it. This thing will fall down the branches of everything. Definitely throw it on some type of braid. If there's a bass in there, he will eat it. Moving on to the last couple of things, we're going to talk Texas rig real quick. You need to be throwing some type of 10.5-inch worm. Through the years, I've thrown Zoom Old Monster, caught hundreds of 5-pounders and bigger fish on this, and I like Excite and I like Zoom. Like I said, this is a give credit, give it to where it's due. Plum, blue fleck, red bug. And the last thing I've really got hooked on over the last couple of years, I didn't want to talk about this, but these are the giant shaky worms. These are deadly, like on offshore. Like, I fish 15 feet or less. I don't care what time of the year it is, but on those do-nothing clay bottoms, clay points, a shaky head with a big worm like this is definitely a must. And that's what I use. I don't think there's a better shaky head out there. Excite has really stepped it up with this particular jig head they got. I don't miss many fish on it. I throw a 20-pound test on it, but that is what I do for the shad spawn, post spawn, and early summer baits. Like I said, if you're brand new here, definitely smash that subscribe button, turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Y'all keep God first in your life, get out there, catch some fish, and we'll see you in the next video.